Today's lesson, learning how to draw a bear in Photoshop Elements. So let's begin. Select New Blank File. We've just called it Untitled for now. Let's make the canvas a size a little bit bigger by zooming in. Let's select some layers here. Go to layer 1, select a color, draw a ground line, ground plane. This is where your character is going to stand, instead of having him just floating in space. Let's go to our brush palette and figure out a thickness to the brush. Test it out, see how it looks. If you don't like how thick that is, make it a little bit thicker. Now we've got our sphere with bisecting lines for the middle of the head. I've drawn in legs and feet here. These are all very rough sketching lines that I'm doing here. Next we'll place some eyes. It will make the far eye in perspective, which means it's a little bit narrower than the eye that's fully facing us. Here are the cheeks, top of the head, some hair sticking up, and we'll see the eyeballs looking at something. I aim the eyes to look in the same direction. Here's his cute little nose, and now the muzzle. And his mouth. Top of the mouth goes back. I draw a line here to show that there's where his mouth and cheek meet. Tongue, teeth, fill that in darker. These lines describe the thickness of his cheek and his lip, lower lip. And here's his cheek. That's towards us. Here's his ear, closest to us. Now I've drawn his arm, a little roughing in for his fingers at the end of his arm. Here I'm adding his other arm, which is pointing at something off screen. Draw the thumb and his fingers. Now let's start to actually ink this. This goes on layer 2 now. And now I'm just describing I want a fatter line here. This is the outer edge of the character, furry cheeks. And here's the hair on top of his head, which I guess with a bear that would be fur. So for this character, I'm going mostly on the outside, mostly on the outside edges of him. I leave that white space there for the highlight of his nose, because bears always have a cute little highlight. There's a line that goes across his face. I put in the eyes. You can hear my cow cat in the background yowling. Now let's show what his muzzle looks like. And there's that line there, top of the edge of the mouth. Drawing the teeth. Bears always have nice teeth. Darken inside the mouth up to the tongue. Now let's describe the line around his lower lip and draw in his arm. I feather those lines on the edge at his elbow because that's what the fur would do as he bends his arm. Make nice cute little palms there. Notice how I don't have the lines describing his arms as parallel. make the bottom part of the arm a heavier line. Now to make his feet paws, I go around like this to show some volume. And there's lines to describe the toes of his feet, paws. And there's the far foot. And I put this leg mostly in shadow. I made the line a little bit thinner so I can make thinner lines inside of his ear and the ground plane line. Now let's make some shadow to show that he's actually standing on this ground plane. And since he's leaned back, a lot of the shadow would be behind him. That's his head shadow there, and his arm up in the air sticks out. Now let's save this and we'll name it. New Bear. And it's a PSD file, which means it's saved with all of its layers intact. It's a Photoshop file. And we're going to put it into this folder of drawings and save it. So next time we will have another drawing lesson. Maybe we'll take this bear and animate him. See you next time.